Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. We'll look at now a few of the passages from Ibn Arabi's chapter on love. Now, another word here, throughout the Futuhat, I often am able to translate the third person masculine singular, which for Ibn Arabi is a general pronoun. But for us in English, when we say he, we usually mean a man. And so I've been able to switch that into they and do different things so that we don't hear, he and man all the time. Because Ibn Arabi wants us to see to see us as all, male and female and other, and so on. And the same, but in the chapter of love, something goes a little bit different, and that is that the beloved and the lover are always given the he pronoun. And Ibn Arabi is doing this for a number of reasons. The main reason is that especially for his time and also in general, the well-manneredness or the adab of Islam is that one doesn't, if one is a man speaking and men are in the audience, one wouldn't speak about a woman and about a woman's love and about her desire or what she is and what she looks like and so on. And so Ibn Arabi is saying he loving him, and so I keep this in the masculine third person here. However, during the poems, Ibn Arabi will talk about women, and so he'll talk about Zainab and so on, and these will be the names of the women that he is talking about as forms. And so very clear that the person who's reading the poems is substituting the form that they love in that poem. Now, in this one passage, Ibn Arabi is quoting Rabia, and he says about her, he says, "You may say that this is the word of the famous Rabia al-Adawiyah, who exceeded the men in state and station. She interlaced as a poetic necklace and compartmentalized, put things in pieces, so that, and God be pleased with her, so that it is one of the most wondrous modes of translating for love. And her poem is, I love you with two loves, a love of utter attachment and a love due to you being entitled to that. As for the one which is a love of utter attachment, it is my preoccupation with your dhikr to the exclusion of anyone else. As for the one which you are entitled to, it is your tearing off the veil so that I may see you. Thus my praising you for this, but not for that, is due to me. But for you, it is my praise of you for this and that." And then Ibn Arabi quotes another poem, and this is a girl saying, "My Habib, beloved of the hearts, what do I have but you? Oh, how merciful the day the traveler reaches you. You are my every wish, my every desire, my every joy. My heart has refused to love anyone else. Oh, my wish, my paragon, my support, my yearning for you is prolonged. When will my meeting with you be?" And then Ibn Arabi says, and we have for this category or this topic, this poem, your blessing or your torment. To me it's the same. Thus love of you does not change and does not increase. The love which is mine is concerning that which you chose for me, and the love which is yours is like your creation to me ever new. Now, in this particular manifestation of love, the lover has the rudeness or niceness or goodness of the beloved towards the lover has no effect on the lover's love. So however rude or however nice the beloved is, the lover's love is the same. And Ibn Arabi speaks that about Rabia, telling us that when the lover loves the beloved can give bad things to her. God can give bad things and hard things and difficult things, and that doesn't change the lover's feelings. It doesn't change the lover's love. And that's how that I love you and I praise you for this and that. So if it's love that is selfish or based on my own love, then I love God for when he gives me the good things. When he gives me the bad things, then my love starts decreasing. Rabia is saying that when I have this other kind of love, that God gives me good or bad, I love both. And so it's coming from my beloved, and therefore it's something that I love. Now, Ibn Arabi takes all of the feelings of love and he lists them and categorizes them, and these are all famous in Arabic poetry. Arabic poetry is very rich in love poetry. And I'll have a long list of all the states that a lover and the beloved are in. And in this particular one, it's when the rudeness or the goodness of the beloved doesn't affect the love of the lover. And what Ibn Arabi always does is he flips it over and says, now if God is the lover, how does all this work? And so in this situation, when the lover is God, he does not benefit from obedience. and he is not harmed by opposition. The one he loves among his creatures, his offenses do not harm him, nor do they take him down a notch in his alighting place. No, he gives him good tidings. He said, God overlooks what you did. Why did you grant them exemption? This is a verse from the Quran, that God overlooks what you did. Why did you grant them exemption? And this is based on a verse that came because the Prophet ﷺ had given exemption to many people from fighting in Tabruk. He said, you don't have to fight, you don't have to fight, you don't have to fight. So the verse comes, God overlooks what you did. So in other words, the forgiveness comes first, and then why did you grant them exemption? Now, thus Allah put overlooking and forgiveness before the questioning according to us, and before the scolding according to them. Ibn Arabi is saying that the other commentators of this verse say that God is scolding the Prophet by saying, why did you exempt them? But Ibn Arabi said this is not a scolding, because what is happening is that so that God would forgive you whatever came before your offense and whatever came after. Thus he put forgiveness before the offense. But it is not an offense according to us. No, his discussion is in order to inform us about the divine great for his loves. The beloved has no sin, and the lover has no good contact towards himself. So therefore, when God is the lover, God overlooks or doesn't care about whether the beloved is giving good things and obedience or disobedience. The obedience doesn't harm him, and the obedience doesn't help him. And this we also know from theology, that nothing we do helps or hinders God. And Ibn Arabi is saying this is because this is that particular situation when the beloved says, whatever you do, whatever you do that helps me doesn't actually help me. Whatever you do that hurts me doesn't actually hurt me, because I love you whatever you do. And this, of course, is also the ones of the survivors of Badr, the battle, that said, do what you wish, I've already forgiven you. Now, this long list of different characteristics of the lovers, one of them is the lover being emptied of categories. Now, emptied of categories, this is the exhaustion. This is the time when the lover is exhausted, says, I have nothing, I am nothing, I'm wiped out, I'm effaced, I'm completely out of it. This means that I have no category, I have no qualities, I have no adjectives. Now, when you feel this way, when you have this kind of love, you're in a particular podium of love that Ibn Arabi is going to talk about. And this is the lover having no category which defines a restriction nor quality, because he is whatever the beloved wants him to be. Okay? Now, then we flip this over. What happens when God is the lover? Now, he is complete in his dhat, in his essence, and is not completed by any additions. Therefore, God has no category and no adjective, because there is nothing like unto him. There is nothing like him, and glory to your cherisher, Lord, inaccessible to what they would ascribe. So this is when God is the lover. He's undescribable by us. He's inaccessible to anything, any adjective that we would put on him. And this inaccessibility for the lover, when the lover is the human being, we say we are wiped out, we are effaced, we have nothing, we have no quality whatsoever. Now, a similar quality is that when we say, I have no name. So this is when the lover says, I have no name. And the poet says, Ibn Arabi quotes a poem, do not call me by any name but her slave, because that is the most noble panoramic of my names. So you say, call me her slave, and that is the best name that I could have. So I don't have any name on my side. I only have a name that I'm her slave. And this her slave, of course, is Abdullah, the Abd, the slave of God. And so the best name is the name of Muhammad ﷺ as Abdullah, as the slave of God. And Ubudiyah is the one who is the humble creature who has nothing but humbleness before God. And so this Ubudiyah is when there is no name appointed to one except what the beloved calls him. So when the beloved calls you, that's your name. And so the poet says, just call me her slave. That's the best name that I could have. Now we flip this over. What happens when the lover is God? And here we say, let me read this. There is no name which he has which points to his dhat, to his who. No, the object of divinity, who is his beloved, looks to whatever he has of effect, so that when God makes an effect, we see the effect. We look to the effect, what happens. So we call him by his effect. Then the true accepts whatever we call him by. The object of divinity says, O God. So we say, O God. And God says to him, Labbaik. Here I am at your service. Now, of course, Labbaik is what we say on the Hajj. We say, I am at your service. Here we are at your service. But this time the lover is God. And so Labbaik means, I am at your service. So we say, O God, and God says to us, Labbaik, here I am at your service. The cherished, the object of cherishing, the cherished, says, O cherisher, O Rabb. And the cherisher says to him, or us, Labbaik, here I am at your service. The created being, who is the object of the creator, the created being who is the object of the creator, says, O creator. And the creator says, Labbaik, here I am at your service. The nourished says, when we're nourished by the nourisher, the nourished says, O nourisher. And the nourisher says, Labbaik, here I am at your service. The weakened one, so when we are the objects of weakening, when the power has come onto us and we are weak, we say, O powerful. And the powerful says, I am responding to you. Thus our different states call him with a calling you may verify for yourself. Then he takes them as names for him. Because of this, their wording's different, and the letters of them are composed differently according to the language. The meaning which is necessitated by the name is intelligible to the created being, to us. Thus the Arab says, Ya Allah, to the one which the Persian says, Khuda, and to the one the Roman says, Theos, and to the one the Armenian says, Usfaj, and to the one the Turk calls Tangri, and to the one the Franks call Kiriatur, or Portuguese Criador, and to the one the Ethiopian calls Waq. These are the different words for the single intended meaning for each created being. Because of this, we said, he is an unknown of names. See, the names are pointers. So the beloved, by whatever name his lover calls him, he answers. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin.